The last light in the dark. Araya floated alone in the cold silence of space. Her armor was broken. Her oxygen was low. She could see nothing but black. The stars were far, and her people were gone. Her ship had exploded 2 days ago. She had escaped in a small pod, but it was damaged. No one answered her signals. Her kind, the Varelians, were proud warriors. They did not come back for the weak. They left the fallen behind. Araya knew this. Still, she hoped. Now, that hope was fading. She looked at the small screen in front of her. Oxygen, 4%. Power, 3%. Location, unknown. She was deep in the void, a place no one dared to enter. No stars here, no planets, just emptiness. She closed her eyes. Her body was tired. Her mind, even more. So this is how it ends, she thought. Alone. Forgotten. Her hand touched the cracked glass of the window. Her fingers were shaking. She remembered her last battle. She had fought well. She had saved her captain. But when the ship broke apart, he had left without her. He had chosen his own life over hers. I was loyal, she whispered. Her voice was weak. Suddenly, her comm system beeped. Beep, beep, beep. She opened her eyes. A voice came through the static. Hello, do you copy? This is Commander Eli Drake of the U.S. Tempest. Is anyone out there? Araya froze. A human. She had heard of humans. Weak, soft, emotional. Her people did not trust them. They were called the young race, new to the stars. But somehow, they kept surviving. Winning. She didn't speak. The voice came again. I picked up your signal. Barely. Your pod is drifting into the black zone. That's a dead zone. No one comes out of there. But I hear you. And I'm coming. Araya's lips moved, but no sound came out. Was this real? She coughed. Then spoke, her voice dry and low. You are human. Yes. Commander Eli Drake. I'm about 2 hours away. I can reach you if your pod doesn't move too far. Stay awake. Talk to me. Why? She asked. Why would you help me? There was a pause. Because you're alive. That's reason enough. She didn't understand. Her people believed in strength, not mercy. They didn't help strangers. They didn't rescue the weak. She stayed silent. What's your name? He asked. Araya. Nice to meet you. Araya. I'm not going to let you die out here. You don't even know me. Doesn't matter. His voice was calm, warm. It was strange. She didn't know what to say. No one had ever spoken to her like that. She looked at the screen again. Oxygen, 3%. I don't have time, she said. You can't reach me. I'm lost. No, Eli said. You're not lost. You're right there. I can see your location. I'm adjusting my course. You will die trying. Maybe, he said, but I'd rather die trying than live knowing I didn't. A long silence followed. Araya felt her chest tighten. Not from fear, but something else. Was this hope? She touched her comm. You're kind. Humans. You care too much. Maybe, Eli said with a small laugh. But it keeps us human. Her body shook. She was cold. The heat was failing. Her armor couldn't hold much longer. Tell me, Eli said, what do you see? Nothing, she whispered. Only darkness. Then imagine something. Close your eyes. Think of something warm. She tried. She remembered a time long ago, before the war. Her mother had held her hand in the temple gardens. The sun was bright. Flowers were red and gold. I see light, she said, her voice soft. Good, Eli replied. Hold on to that. I'll be there soon. Araya leaned back. Her breathing slowed. The oxygen was now at 2%. Her eyes were heavy. Don't sleep, Eli said quickly. Stay with me. Talk to me. She tried to stay awake. Her lips moved again. I don't want to die alone. You won't, he said. I'm here for you. She felt tears rise in her eyes. Varelians did not cry. But now, alone in the void, she did. And for the first time in her life, she believed in the voice of a human. In the middle of darkness, she heard it again. Soft, steady, close. I'm here for you. A human promise. Araya was slipping away. Her breaths were slow. Her limbs were cold. Her thoughts were fading into darkness. But through the silence, that voice, the human's voice, kept calling her back. Araya, are you still with me? She didn't answer right away. Her eyes were half closed. It felt easier to give in, to let go. But the human, Eli, did not stop. I know you're tired, he said, but I need you to stay awake, just a little longer. His voice wasn't loud. It wasn't powerful like the commanders she used to obey. But it carried something her people rarely used, kindness. It felt strange. It felt warm. With great effort, Araya pressed the button on her comm. A soft crackle followed. I am here, she whispered. Eli exhaled in relief. Good. I thought I lost you. Her eyes slowly blinked open. She tried to focus, but everything was blurry. Her pod's lights were dim. The oxygen count was down to 1%. Her power levels were failing. How much longer? She asked. I'm pushing my ship to the limit, Eli replied. 70 minutes, maybe less. I'm cutting through a restricted flight zone. Not the safest path, but it's faster. Why? Araya asked again. Why risk so much? You don't even know me. There was a pause before he answered. I made a promise, he said quietly. To who? Eli didn't respond right away. When he spoke again, his voice was different, heavier. To myself. Araya didn't understand, but she felt the weight in his words. She leaned her head against the pod window. She could no longer feel her hands. Eli continued, trying to keep her awake. You know, this isn't the first time I've heard a distress call from this region, he said. The last time. We didn't make it in time. There was a young pilot. She was stuck in the void, just like you. What happened to her? She died before we reached her. I still remember her last message. She just kept saying she didn't want to be forgotten. Silence filled the comm for a few seconds. I promised I'd never let that happen again, Eli added. Not if I could stop it. Araya's voice was barely a whisper. You humans care too much. Maybe, Eli said with a small smile. But sometimes caring saves lives. She tried to smile too, but her lips were dry. Her mind started drifting again. I see. Light, she murmured. But I know it's not real. It doesn't have to be real, Eli said quickly. It just has to keep you alive. What do you see in the light? A garden, she said slowly. From my home. Before the war. Before I became a warrior. What was it like? Quiet. Peaceful. I was just a child then. I didn't understand hate. Eli's voice softened. Sounds beautiful. I've never seen a Virelian garden. I never thought of it until now, she admitted. Strange. We only remember the good things when we're close to the end. You're not at the end, Eli said firmly. You're not dying today, Araya. Not on my watch. His voice gave her strength. Even with her fading energy, she held on. She kept talking, little by little. What are you like? She asked. You, the human. Eli laughed. Me. I'm just a pilot. Grew up on Earth. Used to stare at the stars through a telescope. Always wanted to fly. You got your wish. Yeah, he said. But I didn't think flying would lead me to a Virelian warrior floating in the black zone. Your kind fears us, Araya said. Some do, but not me. I believe in what's real. Right now, you're real. You're out there. And I'm coming. She closed her eyes again. Her heart was slowing down. I don't think I'll make it. You will, Eli said. Do you trust me? I don't trust anyone, she said honestly. Then just believe in my promise. She didn't speak, but inside, something shifted. For the first time, she didn't feel completely alone. Her pod suddenly shook. A warning light blinked red. Collision course detected. Eli heard it through the feed. What's happening? Drifting, she whispered. Gravitational pull. A rogue planet. Pulling me in. Eli cursed under his breath. No, not now. He turned up the power on his ship's thrusters. Hang on, Araya. I'm going faster. You'll burn your engines. Then I'll burn them. I only need one thing to survive this trip. You. For a moment, she forgot the pain. She forgot the cold. She listened to his voice like it was the last flame in the dark. Oxygen. 0.5%. Her vision blurred. I am not afraid, she whispered. Don't say goodbye, Eli said. Say wait for me. She smiled. Barely. Wait for me, human. I'm on my way. Far across the void, Eli's ship burned brighter than ever, racing toward her. He didn't know if he would make it in time. But he had made a promise. And humans, especially this one, kept their promises. Into the black zone. The void wasn't silent anymore. It growled. Commander Eli Drake gripped the controls of his ship. The tempest as turbulence rocked the hull. Alarms screamed around him. The black zone was everything the stories warned it would be. And worse. Thick clouds of dust and ancient debris spun like storms. Gravitational rips pulled at his engines. Radiation spikes danced across the shields like fire. He had one thought. Reach her. Far ahead, beyond the scanner's edge, was a broken alien pod. Inside it was a fading heartbeat. Araya, the Virelian warrior who wasn't supposed to cry, but had. And she was running out of time. Eli adjusted the power levels. The engines were overheating. The fuel cells hissed. His ship groaned like it wanted to turn back. But Eli kept going. He stared ahead into the darkness. There were no stars in this part of space, just a cold black ocean that swallowed ships and never returned them. People called it cursed. Some said it was alive. He didn't care. His comm crackled. Aria's voice was weak, human. Are you there? I'm here, he replied, getting closer. Hold on. How close? 17 minutes. A pause. Too long, she said. No, he replied. Just enough. The ship shook violently again. One of the side panels tore loose. Sparks flew. Eli's fingers moved fast across the screen, rerouting power. Sweat ran down his face. Warning. Structural integrity 48%. Navigation interference detected. The black zone was trying to confuse him. Static clouds messed with his pathfinding systems. Time itself felt strange here, like it was stretching and folding. Seconds felt like minutes. He opened the emergency override and switched to manual controls. If machines failed, he would fly with his hands. He leaned closer to the comm. Araya, talk to me. Keep speaking. What do I say? Anything. Just don't stop. She breathed slowly. Do you know what it feels like, she asked, to be forgotten by your own people? Eli didn't answer right away. Yes, he finally said. How? My sister, she joined the early space program. Got lost in a wormhole jump. Everyone gave up on her. I was 13. They told me she was gone, and I should move on. But you didn't. No, I never believed she was dead. Not really. Even now, part of me thinks she's out there, waiting. That's why you came for me. Part of it, he said. The other part is, I couldn't let someone die alone again. Not if I had a chance to stop it. A long silence followed. Araya's voice came back, slower this time. My people believe emotion is weakness, but I don't think so anymore. You're learning fast, Eli said with a small smile. Humans are messy, but we love hard. We fight harder. Suddenly, His ship dropped. An unseen gravity well pulled the Tempest downward. The screens flashed red. Emergency drop detected. Power drain at 22%. Eli's heart pounded. He slammed the thrusters and fought the pull. Outside the window, swirling clouds revealed a massive, hidden object. A black sphere, glowing faintly with eerie blue lines. "What is that?" he whispered. His sensors didn't know. It was bigger than a moon. Maybe older than planets. He pulled up, just in time. The Tempest flew over the surface of the sphere and escaped the pull, but just barely. His ship was burning. He checked Araya's signal. It was growing faint. "Araya, come in." No answer. He hit the comm again. "Araya, stay with me." Static. Then, finally, "I'm here." "Don't scare me like that," he said. "Too quiet. Can't feel my legs. Everything's dark. You're not alone. I'm almost there. I see your signal. Just 10 minutes now." She didn't answer. Her vitals were dropping. Her pod was spinning gently in the dark, like a ghost. Eli locked on. Target found. He pushed the engines to max. The ship screamed. Panels burst. The lights flickered. One of the thrusters went offline. He had one shot. He closed the distance, used the docking arm, and clamped onto the pod just as it spun past. The jolt hit hard. Both ships trembled. Eli scrambled from his seat, pulled on his helmet, and entered the airlock. The metal walls groaned under pressure. He forced the emergency hatch open, then jumped into the void between the ships. Just a few meters. Just a dying warrior. He reached her pod and saw her face through the glass. She looked like a statue, still, frozen, her eyes closed. He tapped the glass. "Araya, I'm here." No reply. He opened the emergency seal and cut the hatch. Smoke hissed out. The inside was cold, too cold. He climbed in and checked her pulse. Weak. But there. He lifted her gently. She was heavier than a human. Her armor had cracked. Blood from a small head wound had dried along her temple. Her skin, once a deep purple, had turned pale. He whispered again, "I'm here." He carried her back to the Tempest, sealed the door, and activated the medbay. Machines started scanning. He peeled off her helmet. Her eyes fluttered open. "You came. I made a promise." She stared at him. Her lips trembled. "You're warm. That's what humans are best at," Eli said, giving her a faint smile. "Staying warm in cold places." The medbay beeped. She was stable. For now. But outside, the black zone still roared. They were both stuck here, in the heart of the unknown. And something was moving in the shadows. Heartbeat in the silence. Inside the Tempest, silence had weight. The hum of machines, the steady beep of a monitor, and the gentle rhythm of breath were the only sounds. The medbay lights glowed soft and blue. The cold, dark chaos of the black zone now rested just outside the ship's hull. Inside, she was still alive. Araya, the warrior who was supposed to die alone, now lay wrapped in emergency thermal blankets. Her armor was gone. Her body, bruised and cold, was recovering inside a stasis bed. Her eyes opened slowly. She felt warmth, first in her chest, then in her hands. Her breathing was steady. She was not dead. The ceiling above her was strange. Smooth metal, human design. Then she heard it, slow and real. A heartbeat. Not her own. She turned her head weakly. Sitting in the chair next to her was Commander Eli Drake, asleep, his head resting on folded arms. He had stayed by her side, still wearing his flight suit, his hair messy from sweat and exhaustion. He looked nothing like the stories her people told about humans. He didn't look dangerous. He looked peaceful. She closed her eyes again. The heartbeat stayed with her. It was the sound of life, the sound of not being alone. When she woke again, he was standing at the console, scanning the outer zone. "You're awake," he said, hearing her shift. She nodded, her voice dry. "I didn't think I would be. I didn't think I'd get there in time," Eli replied. "But I made it." She stared at him for a moment. "You burned your ship for me. It still flies." "Barely." "Still counts," he said with a small grin. She tried to sit up. He moved to help her, gently adjusting the bed's incline. "I don't understand you, human," she said. "Why keep your promise? Why stay?" He sat back down. "Because someone stayed for me once." Araya blinked. "Who?" Eli looked away for a second. His eyes were distant, filled with something old. "My sister." He took a breath. "She was older. When I was little, our colony had a fire. Everyone ran. I was trapped in a burning room. She came back for me. She carried me out. Got burned doing it. But she saved me." He looked at Araya. "She taught me that saving someone is never foolish, even if no one else understands, even if it hurts." Araya stared at him. Her throat tightened. "We don't have people like that," she said. "Not anymore." "You do now," Eli said quietly. Her chest ached, but not from injury. Something deeper, something new. Later, as the ship drifted quietly in the black zone, a strange sound broke the stillness. Click, hiss, click. Eli turned toward the sound panel. "You hear that?" Araya nodded. "Something. Outside." He checked the screen. A small blinking dot appeared. Unidentified signal detected. Proximity, 2,000 meters. It wasn't a ship. It wasn't debris. It was moving. And it was getting closer. Eli's eyes narrowed. "It's not responding to any standard comms." Araya stared at the display. "We are not alone." He stood quickly and moved toward the front cockpit. Araya pulled herself upright, still weak but alert. "Do you have weapons?" she asked. "Not much," he replied. "This is a recon vessel, not a battleship." The dot moved closer. 1,800 meters. Then 1,500. Then it stopped. A second later, the screens flickered. Lights dimmed. "System interference," Eli muttered. "It's jamming us." Araya frowned. "That is not a random object. It's hunting." Eli turned to her. "Can you fight?" She nodded slowly. "Not well, but I can try." He handed her a pulse pistol. "Then we face it together." The hours passed in tense silence. Outside the hull, nothing moved. No ships, no lights. But something was there. Watching. Waiting. Then, without warning. Boom. The ship shook. Eli grabbed the controls. "It's on the hull." "Sealing pressure doors." Araya shouted, already moving, her warrior instincts returning fast. Lights blinked red. Intrusion detected. Rear hatch compromised. Eli and Araya moved fast, side by side, weapons raised. The corridor lights flickered as they reached the back of the ship. Smoke hissed from the sealed rear door. Something was behind it, scraping, breathing. Araya's voice was steady. "Whatever it is, it doesn't want to talk." The door bent inward, then cracked, then exploded open. A black shadow leaped inside. It wasn't a machine. It wasn't a ship. It was a creature, tall, thin, bones like metal, and eyes that shimmered blue in the dark. Its skin looked like smoke wrapped in armor. It moved like it didn't follow gravity. And it had no mouth, just a long neck and wide eyes that saw everything. It stopped when it saw them. Eli didn't hesitate. He fired. The pulse bolt hit the creature in the shoulder. It hissed but didn't fall. It moved fast, too fast. Araya fired next, aiming for its head. It dodged, climbed the wall, and vanished into the ceiling vents. "Great," Eli muttered. "Now it's inside the walls." "We are being studied," Araya said. "It didn't come to kill." "Then what?" "To learn." Eli looked around. We need a plan. Back in the control room, they locked down all sections except one. They left that hallway open, on purpose. A trap? Araya asked. Eli nodded. Let it come. We'll be waiting. He looked at her. Think you're ready. Araya checked her grip on the pistol. Her hands were steady now. I was born ready. They waited in the dark, side by side, breathing slowly. He could hear her heart. She could hear his. Two hearts in the silence. One human, one alien, but no longer alone. The shadows that hunt. The ship was dark. Only the emergency lights blinked, soft red pulses that made every shadow look like it was alive. Commander Eli Drake stood at the edge of a long hallway, weapon in hand. His other hand gripped the wall, steadying himself. Every muscle in his body was tense. His breath was slow, silent. Beside him stood Araya, wrapped in emergency armor and holding her pulse pistol steady. Her eyes didn't blink. She was trained for this. A warrior. But even she had never seen anything like this creature. It had no name, no voice, and it moved through their ship like it belonged there. But this time, they would be ready. They had set the trap hours ago. A hallway with a single broken light. One door half open. One path left unsealed. A perfect invitation. Now, they waited. The silence stretched. Then, they heard it. Click, click, hiss. The sound of movement inside the walls. Metal creaked above their heads. Then nothing. Eli didn't breathe. Neither did Araya. Suddenly, a shadow dropped from the ceiling. It didn't leap at them. It didn't attack. It stood tall, still, watching. It held something. A small black cube. It placed the cube gently on the floor, backed away, and climbed back into the ceiling. In seconds, it was gone. Eli blinked. What was that? Araya stepped forward carefully. She knelt by the cube. No wires, no buttons, just a glowing line across the center. I've seen this before, she whispered. Eli turned to her. Where? In the old temples of my homeworld. The forbidden chambers, where no one goes anymore. We called them void shrines. We were told they belonged to the old ones, the ones who lived before stars had names. Eli frowned. And that thing just gave it to us. Yes, she said. As a message. They brought the cube to the med bay and placed it on the scanner table. It activated without touch. A soft blue light glowed, and a shape formed in the air. A hologram, but ancient in style. Not human, not Varelian. Then a voice spoke, but not in any known language. Aria's eyes widened. What's it saying? Eli asked. I can understand it. It's Old Varelian, almost forgotten. My people erased this tongue after the Starfall War. What does it say? Araya stepped closer. Then, with a shaking voice, she translated. One is chosen. One will awaken. The blood of warriors must rise again. You were not left behind, Araya. You were marked. Eli's stomach tightened. Marked for what? Araya didn't answer right away. Her fingers trembled. My people knew about the Black Zone. Not just as a danger, but as a prison. A prison? She nodded. Long ago, our ancestors fought something here. Something we couldn't kill. So they locked it in this region of space. They erased the records. But some of us still told the stories. In secret. What did they trap? Araya looked at him. The thing that whispers in the dark. They were quiet for a long time. The cube slowly powered down, the message complete. Outside, the creature didn't return. But now Eli understood. It hadn't come to kill. It had come to warn. Why would it help us? Eli asked. Because it doesn't want to be alone, Araya said softly. Just like me. He stared at her. You think it's alive like us? Maybe not like us, she replied. But not just instinct. It understands words. It knew my name. That shook him. It said you were chosen. What does that mean? She turned away. I don't know, but I don't think we stumbled into this place by accident. Eli leaned forward. You think someone wanted you here? She nodded. Not someone. Something. Hours passed. Eli worked in the cockpit, trying to boost their signal. The black zone blocked most communication, but with the creature not attacking again, he had a little time. Araya sat in the med bay, staring at the cube. Her thoughts spun like stars. What if this was never about her ship going down? What if it was about pulling her here? Her past, her bloodline, her name, it all tied into something ancient. Something buried in silence. She stood up, slowly walked to the observation window, and looked out. The stars didn't shine here, but something else did. Far in the distance, a shape. Huge. Hidden in shadows. Not a planet. Not a ship. A structure. She whispered, Eli, come here. He joined her at the window. His eyes widened. That wasn't there before. No, she said. It was always there. It just wanted us to see it now. Eli checked the scanner. It's hundreds of kilometers wide. Araya nodded. That's the prison. Are we heading toward it? No, she said. It's pulling us. They strapped in. The Tempest started drifting faster, drawn by a gravitational field from the structure. The engines were offline. They were passengers now. Eli looked at her. If we get close, we might not be able to leave. Araya met his eyes. Then we don't leave. Not until we find out the truth. Eli nodded. No turning back, huh? She offered a small, rare smile. Was that ever an option for you? He smiled back. Not once. As the structure grew closer, they saw its design. Black stone, covered in glowing blue cracks. It looked broken, wounded, alive. Then a signal came through. Clear, loud. Not from the creature, but from inside the prison. It spoke only one word. Area. Her face went pale. That's not possible, she whispered. That voice, it was my father's. Hope in the ashes. The prison was not made of metal. It was made of memories. As the Tempest was pulled closer, Commander Eli Drake and Araya stared in silence through the front screen. The structure ahead looked like it had once been a moon. Now, it was a broken shell. Black stone twisted with glowing blue veins, like cracks holding something inside. No stars shone above it. No light touched it. But inside, something called to them. Araya sat frozen, her hands gripping the armrests tightly. She had heard the voice. It was her father's. But that was impossible. He had died in the siege of Theros, years ago, burned with his ship, his body never found. Eli, she said quietly, I need to go down there. Eli looked at her. You sure? No, she replied. But I can't ignore this. Not anymore. The ship docked near what looked like a landing bay, ancient, but still active. As soon as they landed, lights flickered on, one by one, like the place had been waiting for them. Eli loaded his pulse rifle. Araya took her blade, a curved weapon passed through Virelian bloodlines, and strapped it to her back. Her steps were slow, not because of fear, but because every part of this place whispered something familiar. I've seen this in dreams, she muttered. A hallway with blue light, stone walls, voices from long ago. They stepped into the corridor. It was massive. The ceilings stretched high above. Symbols carved into the stone glowed faintly as they passed. Eli touched one and felt warmth, like the walls were alive. Do you understand this writing? He asked. Some of it, Araya said. It's from the old tongue. A warning. A warning about what? She stopped. Her eyes traced a line of words across the wall. Beware the flame that thinks. Eli raised an eyebrow. That's poetic. And creepy. It means something was sealed here. Not just dangerous. Intelligent. They reached a large chamber. In the center stood a black stone pedestal. On it rested another cube, like the one the shadow creature had given them. Uriah stepped forward. The cube lit up on its own. A projection appeared, blue and flickering. It was a man, tall, strong, wearing old Virelian armor. And his face, her breath caught. "Father," she whispered. Eli watched in silence. The projection began to speak in Virelian. She translated aloud for Eli. "If you are seeing this, my daughter, it means I failed. I could not hold it back. The flame is breaking free. They will lie to you. They will say I died in war. But the truth is, I came here to stop the awakening." The hologram flickered. Then it continued. "You are not like the others, Uriah. The old blood flows in you. The power to seal this place again. Only you carry it now. If you run, it will follow. If you fight, it may fall. But if you forget who you are, the galaxy will burn." The projection vanished. The chamber went dark. Uriah stepped back, shaking. Her voice cracked. "He's alive. He was alive. And they lied." Eli stepped close. "Why would your people lie?" "Because they were afraid," she said. "Afraid of what he found. Afraid of what I am." Eli placed a hand on her shoulder. "What are you?" She looked at him, the last of something they try to erase. They moved deeper into the prison. The temperature dropped. The walls became more twisted. The symbols more frantic. Finally, they reached the heart of the structure. A massive door stood before them, 20 meters tall, covered in ancient locks and glowing lines. It pulsed like a heartbeat. And behind it, they could hear a sound. Breathing. Eli raised his weapon. "Whatever's back there, it's awake." Uriah stepped forward. The door reacted. The locks opened, one by one. Eli tensed. "Wait, what are you doing?" "I don't know," she said. "But it's responding to me. Only to me." The final lock clicked. The door began to open. Smoke poured out. Heat followed. And then it appeared. A being stepped from the darkness. Not fully solid. Not fully real. Fire and shadow wrapped in a tall humanoid shape. No face. No mouth. But eyes. Eyes like burning stars. Uriah dropped to her knees. It didn't attack. It spoke, not in words, but in her mind. "You came. The blood returns. The war can begin again." She shook her head. "No, I'm not your weapon." Eli stood firm beside her. "You don't belong to this thing." The creature turned to him. "And you, the human. The fire of your kind burns bright. You think you can save her." Eli didn't flinch. "I already did." The being hissed. "Then you will be the first to fall." It raised its hand, and fire formed. Eli pulled his weapon, ready to fire. But Uriah stepped in front of him. "No," she shouted. "You don't control me. You don't own my destiny." The creature paused. For the first time, it hesitated. She lifted her blade. It glowed with the same blue light as the temple. She stepped forward. The being growled. "You are a cage," she said, "and I am the key that locks you again." She drove the blade into the ground. The whole structure shook. Screams echoed through the walls. Flames burst from cracks. The being screamed, rage and pain, and was pulled back behind the door. The locks slammed shut. The chamber fell still. Only silence remained. Back on the ship, Uriah sat in the cockpit, her eyes staring into the black space beyond. Eli sat beside her. "You okay?" She nodded slowly. "I am now." "Do you believe your father's still alive?" "I don't know," she said, "but even if he's gone, he gave me purpose." Eli smiled. "So what now?" She turned to him. "We go back." He raised an eyebrow. "You sure? They might not welcome you." "I'm not going back to join them," she said. "I'm going back to change them." Eli grinned. Sounds like a plan. She smiled. For the first time, it was real. You're not alone anymore. The stars were brighter now. Not because the ship had moved, but because something inside Araya had changed. For the first time in her life, she felt light. Not from victory, not from power, but from freedom. She had seen the truth, faced the flame in the dark, and chosen her own path. And beside her was Commander Eli Drake, the human who had refused to leave her behind. Together, they flew out of the black zone in silence, their ship battered but still flying. Behind them, the prison door had sealed. The ancient being was locked again. But ahead, trouble waited. As the Tempest left the dark sector, dozens of ships blinked into view. Virelian warships and human vessels. A full blockade, waiting. Guess word got out, Eli muttered, looking at the scanner. Araya narrowed her eyes. They've come for answers. Or to erase the truth, Eli said. She nodded. Let them try. A voice came through the comms. This is Commander Trax of the Virelian High Guard. You are carrying a fugitive. Surrender Araya immediately. Another voice broke through a moment later, human this time. This is Captain Rains of the U.S. Horizon. Commander Eli Drake, we read your signature. Please respond. Are you safe? Eli opened the channel. This is Commander Drake. I'm safe. Araya is alive. She saved my life. And maybe more than that. He paused. We found something. An ancient structure. A living flame. A threat both your species tried to bury. Silence. Then Commander Trax's voice returned, colder. You will turn her over for questioning. Araya stepped forward. No, she said into the comm. I am done hiding. I'm not your prisoner. I am your warning. Eli looked at her with pride. You don't have to do this alone, he said. She nodded. I know. I'm not alone anymore. They docked on a neutral station orbiting a nearby moon. It was agreed one representative from each side would meet them. A courtroom in space. Small, cold, full of watchers. Araya entered the chamber wearing her full armor, scared but proud. Eli stood beside her in full human command dress. On one side, Virelian High Command. On the other, United Earth Fleet leaders. In the center, silence. Until Eli stepped forward. You want to know what we found? He said. You already know. You've known for years. He pointed at the Virelian side. You lied to your people. You buried the truth. You abandoned your own. Araya was never a traitor. She was chosen by something older than either of us. And she faced it, not to control it, but to stop it. Murmurs echoed through the chamber. One Virelian general spoke up. That power, it cannot be trusted. The blood in her is dangerous. Her father saved you, Eli snapped. And now, so has she. He turned to the humans. We were told not to interfere in Virelian affairs, but the flame doesn't care about sides. It wants war. It wants chaos. And if we don't stand together, we will lose. Araya stepped forward. I'm not here to ask for forgiveness, she said. I'm here to offer truth. She pulled a small device from her belt. The cube. The one her father left. She activated it. The same projection appeared. Her father's words, translated, echoed through the chamber. The flame is real, and it is waking. We locked it once, but only together can we keep it sealed. The key is blood and unity. If we fail, the stars will burn. Silence followed. One human officer whispered, It's true, then. A Virelian elder stood. I remember those words, she said. I was young when the old tongue was erased, but I remember. Her eyes met Araya's. You are not a mistake. You are our chance. The trial was over in minutes after that. No sentence, no punishment, no exile. Instead, a choice. Araya was offered command of a new team. A peace force, human and Virelian. built to monitor the prison and study the old technologies. She accepted, but only on one condition. That he comes with me, she said, nodding to Eli. One admiral smiled. I believe he's already packed. Weeks later, a new ship was launched. The Unity Flame. Not a warship. A symbol. A message. That light could be born even from darkness. That fire could protect, not just destroy. And at the helm stood Oriah, once forgotten, now remembered. And Eli, once alone, now never again. Final scene. They stood in the observation deck, watching the stars. Eli sipped coffee. Oriah stood with her hands behind her back, silent. You okay? He asked. She nodded. I thought I'd spend my life in war, she said. Then I thought I'd die in silence. And now? She looked at him. Now I know what it means to be human. He laughed. You're getting there. She smirked. Don't get used to it. They stood side by side. Above them, the stars blinked softly. And behind them, two worlds watched, waiting, hoping, because they knew they were not alone anymore. The end.